Hi guys, I'm going to show you how to make this cute unicorn card case. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit the red button below and give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this video.
Oh, hi!
So the wool that I'm using in this project was sent to me by My Crafty Felt. I'll link their Etsy shop in the description box below. You're going to need 8 grams of purple wool and 10 grams of pink wool. Next, cut out a piece of cardboard that's 7 centimeters by 13.5 centimeters. Now you can get started with wet felting. For this, you're going to need a plate, some mesh fabric, hot water, dish soap, and a plastic glove or bag. Before you start wet felting, set aside 2 grams of pink wool. First you want to lay the mesh onto the plate and then lay your cardboard piece on top of that. Then spread out your wool really thin like this and lay it horizontally on top of the cardboard. Then you're going to add another layer of wool vertically in the opposite direction. So I've mixed about 2 drops of dish soap with hot water and put it into a squirt bottle, and I'm just squirting it on top of the wool, patting it down, and then you're going to add 2 more layers of pink wool horizontally and vertically, and then add hot water and pat it down using your plastic glove. Then flip your piece over and pull the edges of pink wool over the cardboard like this and flatten it out with your fingers. And then you're going to add 4 more layers of wool on top of this using the same method that we did before. So once you've added 4 layers of wool, you're going to flatten out the wool and then flip it over. And then use your fingers to smooth out the wool over the edge of the cardboard like you did before. Now we're going to add purple wool to our piece using the same method. Lay the wool in one direction, then the other direction. Add hot water, smooth it out. Add two more layers of wool and hot water, pat it down, smooth it out. And then flip your piece over and fold the purple wool over the edge of the cardboard. Smooth it out with your fingers a little bit. And then add 4 more layers of purple wool onto the other side of the cardboard using the same technique. You want to make sure that the wool that you add is really thin and loose. You don't want it to clump together. Once you've added your 4 layers of wool, you want to really wet the wool using your hot water and soap and smooth the wool down with your fingers. Then check under the mesh to see that everything's equally covered with purple wool. If there are any sparse areas or uneven areas, you might want to add a little bit of extra wool like I'm doing here. And you want to check both sides to see if they're evenly covered with purple wool. And then make sure that when you add the wool, you smooth it out on the other side. Now you're going to take the remaining pink wool that you set aside, break off a small piece, and then use the rest and felt it into sort of an oval shape. This will become the unicorn snout. This piece doesn't have to be too firm. As long as you have the shape right, it should be fine. Once you're ready, you can take that small piece of pink wool that you set aside and lay it on top of your case, and then place the snout on top of that wool. Now we're going to add some hot soapy water and cover this up with mesh. And then we're going to start wet felting. And wet felting basically involves using hot water and a plastic glove and just rubbing the wool to start to tangle the fibers and knit them together. So you're going to rub between the mesh in the beginning, and then once the piece gets firmer, you can use your hands directly. You want to always use hot water, so if your water gets cold, just dump it out and add some more hot soapy water to the piece. And it's okay if you have these little soap bubbles, because at the end we're going to rinse it out. So just work on one side and then flip it over, add some hot water, rub on the other side, and whenever you need to, dump out the water and replace it with hot water as it cools down. From time to time you might want to lift up your mesh and check to see if the wool is sticking to it. Once the wool starts to stick to the mesh, you can probably start felting the wool directly without using the mesh in between it. So just add some more hot soapy water and then rub the piece using your plastic glove or your plastic bag. And then make sure you do both sides, so flip it over from time to time and work on one side and then flip it over and work on the other side. After a while, the wool will get really sort of knitted together like this. As you can see, it's not loose and fluffy anymore. It's really kind of firm and sticking together well. So you can just pick it up and felt on both sides. I think I was working on this for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and at this point my wool was really starting to mat together. So this is called the tent test, where you pinch the wool and see if it stands up like this, like a tent. And that means it's pretty much ready to go. Next, you're going to towel dry your case and then cut an incision into the top using scissors. Pull out the cardboard, which should be really wet and mushy, and then flip your piece inside out. We're going to felt the inside of our card case and also the raw edge that we just cut. So go ahead and squirt some hot soapy water all over the piece, and then using your plastic glove or plastic bag, rub along the raw edge that you just cut and also felt the inside of the base for the pink part. I would do this for about 10 minutes or so and check and make sure everything's felted and properly knitted together, and then if it is, you can dry it off with a towel and then flip it so that the purple side is on the outside. Then allow your piece to dry. It'll probably have to dry overnight. To speed up the drying process, you can place a towel over this piece and then iron it for about 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, so now we're going to add the finishing touches, and we're going to start out by giving the unicorn a horn. I'm using gold leather here, but if you don't have gold leather, you can use white felt or any other fabric of your choice, as long as when you cut it, the edges don't fray. So just cut it into a triangle shape and then set it aside. Next, you're going to needle felt the unicorn's eyes and snout on. So you want to cut out either an old felting mat or a sponge into a piece that's small enough to insert into your case. Now we're going to use needle felting to give the unicorn some eyes. I'm using a tiny wisp of black wool and twisting it up like this, and then I'm going to give my unicorn closed eyes with some long eyelashes, but you can do whatever you want. Then take 2 small pieces of white wool and roll them up into little balls like this, and then felt them directly onto the case to give the unicorn some nostrils. Once you're done, go ahead and glue on the horn, and your card case is ready to use. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!